ahead and get started. So I am Shannon. I'm the operations manager with Best Choice Realty, and we also have the lovely Candice Frazier and Virginia Everard, who are our sales manager and business development with Best Choice. So we've got a lively little discussion today. We are going to go over the topic of the hour. I think this is kind of very timely right now as we enter the spring market. But we're going to be talking about open house prospecting today. I know there's a lot of people right now that are trying to pick up business. They're trying to get some more things in the pipeline, and open houses, I think, are something that you certainly don't want to be discounting this year, especially. So I'm going to turn the time over to Virginia and Candice. So we can kind of go through some of their talking points. I know they've got several stories and things like that to share with you guys. So I'll just turn it over. So Candice, Virginia, you guys ready to roll?
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
Open houses. What do we hear about open house? What's the word out there? It's a waste of time. Why bother? Nobody ever comes. The buyers that come, they're already represented.
I can't afford my own signage.
It's not going to sell the house. It just doesn't sell the house.
Doesn't work. Why bother? So, I used to have this whole attitude, Candice, in regards to open houses. And I went into open houses kicking, screaming, maybe even refusing to do them. So my first 3.5 years of real estate, I didn't do open houses. And that was okay because I didn't need to. Well, that was a falsehood as well. I moved up here, and where do you get business? Houses. So last year, 98% of all my business actually came from open houses. And part of that is I just had to rework my mindset.
Exactly.
So let's talk about it.
Yes, and we have now, right now, just this week, I spoke to an agent who has done an open house, 4 open houses in the month of March. She is now working with her second buyer, writing an offer. I know this because I helped her go over how to win the deal. So the opportunities are there. And so this is why you should. The conversion is 10 to 20%. So if you've got a successful open house, 10 to 15 walk-ins, that's a potential of 2 opportunities. And probably more if you are focused and actually plan for the open house properly.
So Candice, how many hours would you say each open house takes you?
Just the open house itself is
all the activities and everything.
all the activities. It would be a whole day's worth of time.
So
8 hours.
8 hours for $30,000.
The no-brainer.
I mean, seriously, guys, 8 hours, $30,000. What other career presents that opportunity? I mean, legal career, should say that.
Yes, exactly. So I know that there came a time, it wasn't always that I would have the opportunity, but there was a point where I knew that if I went and held 2 open houses over the weekend, I was going to walk away with at least 1 buyer. And then I got to the point where it's like, okay, I'm trying to find my opportunity for the sellers in there as well. So ready to go. And I know, Virginia, you just said that
67% of all buyers are sellers. That means out of every 10 people that walk through your door in an open house, 6 of those have homes to sell. Because I just heard this from somebody recently, that they wanted to focus on sellers. I'm like, well, if you're at open houses, 67% of all those people walking through are going to have a home to sell first.
exactly.
So the opportunity is there, both buy and sell.
And I'd echo that too for Virginia and Candice too. I held an open house, and I think there were probably about 15, 20 people that came through. I'd say probably about half of those were actually neighbors in the community. But the common thing is they're kind of getting their feet wet. Maybe they're not going to sell immediately, but they will in the next 6 months, a year, maybe a year and a half. I want them to think of me, right?
Yeah.
Let's keep going.
So even if you're An open house is a source of business. And I will say, when times get hard and money needs to get going, the one tried and true I know for sure is an open house. That is a place that I can pick up a ready to go buyer. And it's all in the, I think you have to be very intentional about it and you have to prepare for it. So preparation is key. Last minute open house opportunity tomorrow, 11 to 12. Today there was 42 groups through and they expect half of that the next day. So knowing too when to be at the open house. Do I actually want to be at an open house with 42 groups? Probably not so much because I find it a little bit difficult to get that one-on-one opportunity. But that day after that 42 groups, where I know it's probably about half of the people will be there, even a fourth, even if it's just a fourth, that's 10 of 10 people through the open. It's perfect.
Go back to the last slide for me, Shannon, just real fast. The last one we just had. So, oh,
Yes,
10
we
to
do.
15 walk-ins, $30,000. I would show up in a open house all day long, and I have, by the way. I just wanted to point that out again. I think that we underestimate what opportunity comes out of this, and it doesn't mean that that's the money you're going to make today at that open house, but it does mean that if you prepare correctly and are intentional, we can go back to the last one. You have that opportunity to add that into your money stream for this year.
And so many more opportunities. I mean, that's huge. That's
Mhm.
4. And maybe invite somebody to come and host it with you.
Yeah. Can I share a story, Kim?
Yes.
She's like, yes. So I had these lovely folks that came into an open house when I first moved here, and we connected really well. But they'd already signed in, and so we were talking. I heard what they were looking for, and just had a great conversation. They went back to the sign-in sheet and tried to really sneakily change the fact that they'd put down the wrong phone number. I let them do it. I didn't want to embarrass them. So they did that. And then I had really was engaged in their conversation. When I was going through every morning, I open up the RMLS, the hot sheet, to see what's new on the market in the areas that I have buyers looking, or just usually I want to see everything on the market. And so I saw that there was a condo that came up in Stadium District with a view for only $650,000. Well, it was what it, in my luck, it was Thanksgiving weekend. So I knew that nobody else was looking that week. Got my clients from the open house with their correct phone number, was under contract by the end of the week. Then they went and remodeled that condo that we sold for 1.1 million after they paid 650 for it. And they purchased 3 other pieces of property from me. One open house.
Awesome. What do I need? So, supplies and materials that you'll need. You will need open house signs. You will need your marketing material. So your flyers, your door hangers, your sign-in sheet, pens, don't forget pens, foot covers, booties, hand sanitizer, water or a light refreshment, your business cards, and ideally some cleaning wipes, light cleaning supplies. I try to always have some wipes and maybe like a broom in the back of my house, in the back of my car, when I'm doing open house.
Vacant properties, you might also want to have toilet paper in your bag. And we do have masks on here. And everybody's probably sitting there going, oh, but we're not in COVID any longer. Well, we're not in COVID any longer, but there are people that are more sensitive to being around other people. So keep masks in your go to open house thing, because if they do have a mask on when they walk in, ask them if they'd like you to do as well. Not saying that you should do something you're not comfortable with, but making other people that are coming in to meet you for the first time feel comfortable is a really important thing. It's another great way to connect.
Selecting the open house. I think this is key. Picking the right one is 90% of the battle. And we all know that sometimes it is at a whim and you don't have the opportunity to select. But I really took pride in open houses because I knew this was really important and I knew that I was going to potentially make up to $30,000. So selecting in newly listed properties, or those that have had a recent substantial price reduction. I think a price reduction for that matter is great too. So newly on the market, or those that have a recent price reduction. Easy to show locations, so no gates. Does it say enter? Oh, intercoms to get in. So yeah, so it has been a challenge. Some of the condos where they're gated, or you have one entry location to all the units, that can be a challenge.
I've done several that are quite rusted, and you know what? Every time I get my steps in, every single time.
Near well or known roads, walkable areas, desirable communities, entry level price points generate a lot of opportunities.
Yeah.
You farm your neighborhood. And if you don't have an open house, ask another agent in the office if you can hold one for them open. You can reach out to us. I can show you how to target recent listings for agents in our office so that you can actually call them first, as well.
You can also, this is a totally crazy idea, but offer for sale by owners to host an open house there if you can't find anything else. You'd be surprised how many of them, and there you go. You're looking for listings.
Yep.
So
Select the right open house. Plan and market as soon as possible. And we talked about, I know when I did open houses consistently, I was doing basically 6 open houses every weekend. Not total, 6 open houses a month. Make sure that it's added to the MLS as soon as you selected it. Start getting your flyers prepared and printed. I also suggest going and being able to go around the other properties that are listed. So preview properties that are in the neighborhood similar to that home. So you can actually become the expert of the open house, some information, and maybe are able to show them another property after the open house.
I always have 2 or 3 other properties that are similar to the property that I'm posting, just in case. Well, my idea is if you come to my open house, then I'm going to show you properties afterwards, because why not? And so I was come prepared with some other properties already that are easy to show, ones that I can book immediately and get I'm showing on.
Easy to show, meaning probably
They can
require like a 2-hour notice.
Yeah. Mhm.
Get your sign-in sheet ready to go. Your open house signs planned out in the area, so kind of know where the open house is and where you're going to market and post your signs. Open house kit, make sure it's ready with your treats, cleaning supplies, toilet tissue, a couple masks. And then also too, ideally maybe invite a lender or a title rep to join you at the open house, or another agent too. I know that larger homes that maybe are 3 stories or really large, I a lot of times didn't want to do them by myself. So invite another agent. Team up, tag team.
But going back to that, don't use a tag team time to be in conversation with the other agent or the other person and forget that you're there to meet people. I can tell you one of my biggest pet peeves is when I walk into an open house and they don't know I'm a realtor and they're having a conversation amongst themselves, and literally I have the whole house to myself without anybody caring. And that really, really, really upsets me.
If it accepts you, can imagine a potential buyer.
They'd be like, why bother? No wonder they don't think we get paid, we get paid too much.
I've always said you can learn what to do and what not to do at an open house just by going and touring open houses.
Yes,
It's a great way. Be the market expert and be prepared. So memorize the facts of the open house. Have, like we said, sold and active comparables so that you can be the market expert when the buyers arrive. Talk about what's going on in the neighborhood. Did you by chance see the other house that just sold that's very similar to this one? Chances are if they did and they can describe it to you, they're really serious buyers. Review scripts and objections. Door knock the neighborhood. Ideally, it's 20. It sounds like Virginia and I both have our 20 around the listing. So she does what, 5?
Five to the left, five to the right, 10 in front, and then you do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around.
And then I just use Realist. And in Realist, you have the neighbors, all the neighbors. It's 20 of the neighbors circling the house that you can invite. And it's nice to invite them. Give them a call or send them
Send them a letter, don't you?
send them a letter. Yeah, or an invitation, special invite only for the neighbors.
If you make the neighbors feel special and they're just even have an inkling of selling their house, guess what? You're going to be the first one they're going to call. They will call you.
They do. Let's see here. Yeah. So the day of the open house, I think to getting there on time is key. So you have your setup, number one. All the lights on, open all the blinds and curtains. Think about safety too, you guys, because I think it's just so important. So know kind of like your entrance, outrance, exits, different areas, turn all the lights on, open the blinds, open the curtains, so people know that it is an open house. You'd be surprised.
Didn't you say somebody hosted an open house for you?
And it was a house I listed on my block, so my neighbor 5 houses down. And so as I'm driving back from wherever I was coming from, I'm looking, I'm like, is there even an open house? The windows, the blinds are closed, it's dark in there, it's not even inviting. And of course, it was like November, gloomy day. So yeah, open up the blinds. Um, Take flyers out of the flyer boxes. Set up your signage strategically. So, and then also at least have one in front of the house, maybe even a balloon or something to bring attention. Post a reel on your social media. Um, your sphere of influence needs to know that you are in business and doing real estate. Um, what else? Is there anything else? The day of the open house?
Really.
Something, just kind of intention, set intentions.
So when I walk into an open house, I'm walking on stage, which I know sounds weird, but I am no longer, the moment I walk in for my open house, I'm no longer concerned about anything else but my intention of developing relationships with the people who walk in. Now, that doesn't mean everybody's going to want to work with me. It doesn't even mean that I am going to convert everybody to as a buyer or a seller. But what it does mean is I walk in there and like it's a game day, right? It's game day. The game's on. I am there. I'm the professional. I don't care if you have to go in your car and listen to your favorite song 10 times to get you in the mindset. No longer are you worried about what you're going to eat for dinner, what your kids are doing, what your boyfriend's doing, girlfriend's doing, what your parents are needing. You're all about being there. Your intention is to walk away with business. And I don't waver on that ever. And so back to safety, because I do hear that's a lot from a lot of ladies who do open houses. So the one thing I do is that I don't ever let somebody be behind me. So if I'm showing a house, I'm always the last person. So I send my client, the people, people who come to the open house, the guests in front of me. I always walk behind. I never let anybody else be behind me. So that's just a little safety tip I've learned. I don't leave my open house box out and available for anybody. If I can, I put it under the sink. And if I can't put it under the sink, I find a closet close by to put it in there with the keys to the house. So just simple little things you can do to make it much more pleasant.
This is the fun part. Creating engagement. So what do we say at the open house? What don't you say at the open house? So creating the engagement during the open house. When people walk in, what do you say? I don't know. What does everybody say at an open house? What do you say? What's the first thing you say when somebody walks in?
When somebody walks in, I thank them for coming by. I say, welcome, introduce myself, and then I ask them, are you a neighbor or are you a buyer?
Are you a neighbor or are you a buyer? Nice. And so, hi, Virginia, I'm the neighbor down the street.
Oh my goodness, it's so nice to meet you. Hey, I don't know if you would mind doing this for me, but could you go out and take a look at that backyard garden? I would love to know how it compares to your backyard.
Oh, Yeah, sure.
Awesome, thank you.
So create engagement. Where are you coming from? How did you hear about the open house?
How many open houses have you been to that day?
Oh, goodness.
Is this your first open house you've been to? And if it's not, what have the other open houses been like? How
Right.
long have you been looking? And if you've been looking a long time, can you tell me about that experience? How has it been for you? Be curious, be inquisitive, and then come from contribution. Be there to offer them something they may not be getting. Because I will also say, out of all my business last year, 5 of the people I put under contract had other agents working with them when they met me at their open house.
5.
5. I have been banned from doing open houses at Mosaic, maybe because of that. But hey, you don't need to worry about that. What I'm saying is that agents, your responsibility is to come from contribution. Give the people, the buyers, the prospective client, something that they are not getting, and listen to what they're missing. Ask lots of questions. It's like an onion. Peel it back.
That way you can fill in those gaps that they're missing. I always like to invite for feedback. So sometimes I hear a lot of times agents are like, oh, I'll ask questions and I just get, they just don't want to respond. And you know what? That's okay. I'm never gonna like trying to force somebody into conversation with me, but I always, at minimum, if you don't do anything else, and I'll say this, if you don't do anything else, please come back and give me some feedback for the seller. And that even too, sometimes for those that may have kind of been not too quick to want to sign in or give up information, really the short answer, kind of like, yeah, I just heard about it from the sign, really short. Those are the ones too. I invite them for feedback so we can sit down and talk. I've got my notepad out and I'm just taking notes. You know, Tom and Jerry with the little boy who had the uh, flower in his hair, or the little girl who had a flower in her hair, what have you. Putting my quick notes and writing the feedback too, so that I can provide to the seller.
Also, too, by doing that, again, you're creating a conversation with somebody. I know you guys are all probably a lot like me. You go into a store, somebody says, "Hey, how you doing? Can I help you?" The first thing you say is no. That's our first instinct as human beings, is to put a big block up. So our job is to not be pushy about it. But if they have to come back, if people love to help you, so if they have a job and they know they're going to come back and give you feedback, they're more than happy to. People always want you to know their opinion. They don't want to give it to you without being asked, but once you ask, they love to give it to you. So never hesitate to create that connection with them. So
After the open house, what do we do after the open house? I think number one is thank the listing agent, provide feedback to the sellers. That's important, or feedback to the listing agent. Sometimes I'll leave a little thank you note on the table, somewhere so that the seller can see it if it's not vacant. Um, and then follow up. I mean, immediately. I know Virginia says that she's literally texting them right after the open house.
yeah, so I have found, and this is through mistakes, that and actually this happened to me. I followed up on a Monday instead of right after the open house. And they answered back, but not, kind of like a little bit more remote. Then didn't hear anything from them for 3 months, and then I got a phone call and they're like, "Hey, we went with this other agent. It's not working out. Can you help us?" And I was able to get them under contract. It all worked out fine. And I finally asked them, I said, "Well, why didn't you guys call me first?" And they said, "You were not the first one to follow up." Do you think that just made me sick? It did. I hate losing. Hate it.
Let's see here. Oh, and then ask to send other opportunities.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, can I send you opportunities of other homes that may match your criteria?
You want to say, are you open to me sending you some other opportunities or properties that might fit your needs? Because and nobody wants to be closed-minded. So the moment you say, "Are you open to?" They're like, "Oh, well, of course I am. I don't want to not. I'm very open-minded."
Mhm.
So, yep. make it fun. Talk about this, Candace.
Creative. We have some agents in Idaho that do amazing open houses. And it's funny because not only have I heard that this strategy is working, it's kind of like the mega open house, bringing the community together, sharing on social media, making it a big event. I think I heard them, they had one that was, oh, what is this one? It's mimosas, an open house with a nice charcuterie board and mimosas. That is so fun. They also had one that was um, price drops and lemon drops. So it was a price reduction and they had a nice lemon drop for everybody who came into the open house that obviously was willing to have a lemon drop. And now we can't have alcoholic beverages here in Washington. However, get creative at have a community event, have a nice mega open house, get a food truck, or even just simple music, inviting your community on social media through Facebook, door knock, put out all the flyers, not just 20, do 100 flyers, mail them out, put out a ton of signs, 20 different signs for one open house. And you don't have to have all A boards, you guys. You guys can go on Amazon, they have them. I think I even seen open house signs at Home Depot.
Yeah. So if your budget is an issue, Amazon and Home Depot are a good option, a great option. Feather flags on Amazon, you can pick those up about $40 for a feather flag. There's all kinds of kits. They don't have to be branded, and don't get stuck on things having to be branded. We would like to see them branded, but that being said, people aren't caring who the heck is, what company is hosting the open house. All they care about is the experience they have while in the open house. So really the purpose is putting out so many signs that people follow it. And I am, up until just recently, I literally drove around with about 20 to 50 signs in my car. So I have about 20 A boards and bazillion yard signs that I stuck everywhere. Now I do know in certain communities you're not allowed to put out so many open house signs, but I say do it and beg for forgiveness later. I'm not supposed to probably say that, but that's what I'm telling you if you want the best results.
What else? Pick a time that works harmoniously with another open house in the area. I also have heard a lot about Friday evening open houses or the twilight open houses that are really good. Lunchtime or
Lunchtime on Thursdays works really good. 12 to like 11 to 1 works really well. 4 to 6 on Thursday or Friday nights works really well. Don't think you only have to do open houses on Saturdays and Sundays.
right.
People work all kinds of schedules, especially in today's society. So pick times where people are either transitioning from work to home, or you're going to hit a different demographic. Don't keep it, be creative with your times.
Prime your guest list with some of your friends' names so it looks like they may have been people already in the open house. I do that all the time. I always kind of like fill in the first couple of lines with some names. What else? Have fun with it. Bring a lender, another agent, play Where's Waddle, different games that you can do, prizes with business cards. I know that I saw one agent this weekend had an open house that he was giving out Starbucks gift cards, $25, not $5, $25 Starbucks gift cards, different things, door prizes, uh, oh, cups with lemonade or coffee in the kitchen, offer one to each person. So proper cups, not the disposable ones. And the guests won't leave until the cup's finished. Cookies, sometimes warm cookies in the oven right before that fresh, warm cookie smell, or yeah, chocolate chip cookie smell.
Yes.
And be sure to clean up. Be careful of too much chocolate or, stuff that can get in
Like
places.
colored drinks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like carpet.
Yeah.
Be smart about what you're doing and think about the house you're in. If you have a lot of carpet, you may want to avoid chocolate or
candies.
candy or chips or anything. In fact, with carpet, you really want to avoid most things. But but you can make it fun.
How many cookies have we eaten at open houses?
Well, that's not a fair question. I don't divulge that.
Okay, so who can help with materials? So we have Lori who can help you order your own signage and materials. You can also call Infinity Signs. They offer signage as well. I think, what is that, to relay?
There is a rewrap.
Rewrap or
Yeah,
something,
rewrap
yes.
your boards, which is actually if there's somebody from a Best Choice or has similar colors, it could be an affordable way to do things. Again, I would highly recommend one of the golden rules that I've learned in real estate is lead with revenue. So if you have to not rewrap a board or something, but it still has a direction and still creates kind of a visual effect to get to the open house, do not put so much pressure on yourself. Because as a new agent, you need to make sure you're leading with revenue. So you do not do anything until you have the revenue to do it.
Right, right. So, and if you want more tips on open houses, some things that you can do, strategies to come up with, or you just want to have a strategy session, you can reach out to myself or Virginia. And we're here to support all of you guys. Yes.
Perfect. Thanks, you guys. I know it's 30 minutes goes by real fast.
Yes.
But yeah, this is great. And I think we've got an actual open house we're doing as a training, right, Candace? I think coming up actually in
Yes.
the next week or two.
So it's from 11 to
Um,
1, next Tuesday, 11 to 1. We don't actually have the location as of yet. It's kind of hard to plan for it this week, but we will have for sure the open house location. It will be in King County, guys. So somebody has asked me, where's it going to be? It will be in King County, which is close enough to Snohomish and close to our um, our agent south, which is Pierce and Thurston. So we're going to be right in the middle and King County. But we will have an in-person open house training next week from 11 to 1.
Yeah, and it's helpful sometimes to actually go through and practice,
Right.
see kind of how, maybe Virginia or Candace are holding themselves, what they're saying, how they guide people through the house. I think actually even when we've done it during the middle of the week like that, there usually is like one person that even comes by.
That
They're
winds up
like,
coming by. Yes,
yeah, like what's going
exactly.
on? Why are there so many cars outside this house? So a very
Yes.
cool opportunity for those that want to have additional training on open houses. It is a huge revenue source right now. You guys don't discount it, especially if you've got your own listings. I mean, this might be the time to actually do them yourself if you're wanting to get that feedback for your sellers, but then also potentially even sell the house, right?
Right,
Or just
right.
sell it to another person in the area. One of the other things I posted it in the chat too that I think was really helpful, I got from some of the masterminds recently, is share, right? While you're at the open house, share as much as you can, make it part of kind of your marketing strategy to your sphere of influence. Let them see and what you're doing. That one that we shared on the screen, they do that for all of their open houses. It's not just one and done. They're doing open houses all the time. They're doing it for every listing that they list. Now all the sellers know and come to them because of their marketing strategies that they're doing. So it can generate referrals in that way too, because people want a lot of activity at their houses when they're on the market. But the other one that came out too is to those videos that you're posting, post them on the community pages. I know
Yeah.
my little neighborhood, it's a very active little Facebook group, and they are very active on the weekends. They're doing buy nothings, they're doing all sorts of stuff. Why not share that there's an open house going on in the community too? So that would be a great kind of tip as well that I've seen
Good
recently.
idea.
Yeah, I like that.
So yeah, I think, and then we had a couple other questions. Jamie had a question about strategies for choosing an open house. I think we covered that, Jamie. Does price point make a difference for open houses? What do you guys think?
I think what you will always find, no matter the price point, the entry level price point of that market is where you're probably going to see the most activity. So the higher it is, I think I see something about above $1 million. And like I said, that's going to depend on location because Bothell, million that is entry level. That's right there. But if you take $1 million in Pierce County, that's not entry level.
So
Right.
it's neighborhood dependent. I think the most important thing is finding a property that is in a neighborhood that people are attracted to and want to move to, and then try to get as close to the entry point in that neighborhood as possible. Would you agree with that?
I do. And I also personally, and I don't know that there's any rhyme or reason to it, but I do like the ones that are vacant, staged, show very well.
Mhm.
Also.
Yeah.
I almost
I
always
think
prefer
another
to
kind of
take
cool tip we've seen too, Candace, I think we, one of our agents did this too, where he wanted to be in a specific area and he wanted to sell in that neighborhood. He wasn't living in that neighborhood, but he attended every open house that came in on that weekend. He was doing tours. He was asking while they're doing their own open house if he could do his own tour because he's like, I want to sell in this community. And he's posting on community pages. He's doing everything he can over in that area of Bellevue. Well, he ended up picking up clients from it. I think he ended up getting 2 buyers that are selling, 1.5 or more in that neighborhood. It more than paid for itself in terms of the time that he was spending on
You're
those type.
talking about one of our agents?
Yeah, yeah, you
Oh,
remember
okay.
him.
Yes. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
He
So it
totally,
can
he
work.
did.
Mm-hmm.
He made that
So
his strategy, literally, and said, I'm only going to be in this specific area. He became the neighborhood area expert. And I want to say in the matter of 3 months' time, and he was
yeah,
doing open houses every weekend, Saturday and Sunday. In the 3 months' time, he had buyers and sellers in that price range of 1 million and higher. I think he was finished for the year too after that.
yeah, I know. He got too
He met
busy, I
his
guess. I
goal.
don't know.
He met his
So,
goal. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So it works. So hopefully you guys found this helpful. Thank you so much, Candice and Virginia. This was excellent and incredibly insightful. It's nice to hear from agents that actually, like Virginia, she's had this as her source of business before. So take some of this knowledge that that Candice and Virginia have given you. I think it's very applicable, especially right now. So anything else that comes up, it's very busy. We are in spring selling mode again. It's been a busy Monday. So yeah, it's still great time to sell, buy, all of that. It is low inventory again, so multiple offers are not uncommon. I know that we've got some excellent webinars coming up. We've got some cool guest speakers coming up, so stay tuned in the next couple Mondays. Should be very lively in the next couple weeks too. So thanks you guys for attending. Happy Monday. Have a very great week, and we'll see you this
Thank you
coming
guys.
Monday.
Have a good one.
Thank you.
Thanks, you guys.